Yeah, I'm back. Part 5, I guess. Yeah, I just did read the anti-bull, well, most of it. I haven't quite finished it. Anti-bullshit man rag. Um, just more backseat driving. You know, this is how you become this is how you're a real activist. Um, in some, I don't even know. I don't even understand his point. In terms of this contrasting between creating theory, defending theory, and activism. Yeah, if we're at the war stage, I guess the way I would look at it is there's stages to conflict. The first stage is you go to the other side and you say, hey, you're Nazis and that's crazy. Stop being a Nazi. And they won't go for it. Then you say, okay, I guess we'll have to have a war. Yeah, and then once you're in the war thing, okay, yeah, then you go ahead and yeah, sorry, you have to be the, like Apocalypse Now, you know what I mean? You just take no prisoners. Get it over with and get it done as quickly as possible. You know, be decisive. First win, and then win as quickly as possible. Killing and harming as few as possible. But that calculation is going to be insidious. It's going to be horribly ugly. It's going to be spies and snipers and all kinds of malicious tools. And I still can't say I'm certain that's still worth it. Because there's no honor in it. So again, I would just argue I'd rather just blow the whole planet up than fight like a faggot, so to speak. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word. Out of principle. But yeah, I'm just saying, if you're gonna cheat, if you have to resort to poisoning their food or something, it's not worth winning. You all should die. If that's what you have to resort to win, fuck you. Fuck the game. Fuck mustard gas. Yeah. If that's winning, I'd rather lose. I'd rather everyone lose. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get to his crap in some future time when I'm done doing what I'm doing right now. But it's just backseat drive. It's just these assholes, right? Those who can't teach, right? That kind of thing. I mean, you can't do, you teach. I mean, he's a backseat driver telling me how to be a superhero. And he's never put on the suit. He hasn't spent day one in the superhero suit. Fuck you. Asshole. Anyway, speaking of assholes.
Right? It just can't. So, if we imagine a state of affairs wherein someone has a nail in their eye, just like a blank piece of paper as the whole universe and just one little person with a nail in their eye. Now, analyse that till kingdom come, right? Where the fuck do you see any ought?
Okay, I mean, it's not complicated, okay? I'm sorry. I mean, you're saying it's really hard to see. And I'm saying, as an intelligence who's sampled consciousness, what else could I possibly think's important? So you're saying that I'm an intelligence, I'm in the universe, I'm observing this bad thing happening right in front of me. It's right there. And you're saying what? I have baseball tickets? I have, what, dinner to eat? My dinner's in the microwave? I got some yummy cheesecake? What exactly is it that I'm doing that doesn't consume my attention? Seems to me that if I was an intelligence, I mean, I might have other things on the list, like there's 1 billion people over there suffering, and maybe I'm busy fixing that. But I'm just saying to you, why, if my intelligence was receptive to finding flaw and fixing it, which is basically the function of intelligence, find error and correct it. It's kind of like the Matrix. The only thing kind of interesting about that stupid movie it was the idea that they kind of played with that idea, that little piece of error in the code. You know, and Neo was just error. You know, Smith was just error. You know, and this is the kind of thing where intelligence would find that. Intelligence would want to perfect. That's what it would do. Unless it's distracted by a penis. So again, so fully describe this witness. Now, if he's an asshole like you who wants to go play video games and just can't be bothered, what's the term they use there? Great Britain, can't be ashed. Yeah, the imbecile will say nothing to see there. But I'm saying the intelligence, the sampled consciousness, knows that this is a bad thing happening, knows that it would expect itself and something intelligent, if it saw it in that situation, it would expect it to do something. I would certainly expect me, if it was me suffering over there, to do something. Maybe this is at least this be grounds for a good thought experiment or even a sci-fi movie script. You know, like you have the deer hunter, you know, some scene where you're playing Russian roulette and all of a sudden the other players turn into yous. And you start to see the futility of what you're doing. Or you're at the Olympics and all the other participants turn into yous. You know, or you're the slave owner and all the slaves turn into yous. You know, maybe you'd get an idea of what's really happening on planet Earth.
Present. Where do you find, upon inspection, any logical obligation or imperative that...
Yeah, I'm just saying, as soon as I say, what if that was me? There, I'm done. As soon as I say, what if that was me? Imagine that being me. As soon as I do that, the art is obvious. So all I have to do is say, oh, okay, I get it. Thems are basically me's turned inside out, but it's exactly the same thing. It has the same mass, same gravitational influence, same atomic weight, same blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, nothing's changed. Them is a me.
Some
Idiot.
owner eye. Now, analyse that till kingdom come, right?
Sorry, the video jump.
Where the fuck do you see any ought present? Where do you find, upon inspection, any logical obligation or imperative that somehow demands or commands or says that it is required of you to alleviate this or to...
Yeah, you can do this mocking thing, but yes, the recognition of bad, torture, I can recognize it, and I can recognize it as bad, and it would be my immediate impulse to fix it. That's correct. I frankly, I don't even need to think about it. I mean, the only thought I have to have is the recognition that it's bad. And I'm done. I say the word, bad is happening. I'm done. I'm there. There's the incentive. There's the reason.
You know, do better than this.
I mean, really, your thought experiment doesn't give me any... It doesn't say I have to sacrifice my arm to save them or something. You're essentially saying what would impel me to keep looking or to analyze or to imagine solution. What would impel me to do that? Well, the recognition that bad exists. It's happening.
State of affairs. I'll give you the answer. You won't find one.
Good. Well, again, you can say I won't find one. I'm saying as honestly as I can tell you, I could find one when I was 5. I could find one when I was 7. I could understand. I could say, whoa, what if that was me? The first time I saw a man with no leg, I mean, my impulse was to say, what if I was missing a leg? And I imagined what life would be like without my fucking leg. And no more running, no more climbing. And just the ooey gooey part of it, just even imagining the end of my leg isn't my leg isn't proper. It doesn't have the parts on it, and it's all fucked up. Even the aesthetic thing. I just had to imagine it and say, shit, that's horrible. Wasn't hard. Fuck you. They're bad. And it's the logic that they're placed in. The model that they're allowed to function in. You know, it really is this whole, because, reading the anti-bullshit man post was just kind of irritating in a way, because, he's just defending these assholes and saying they have some legitimate, almost implying that they have a legitimate philosophy and that they're not just selfish assholes rationalizing selfishness. That's just not the inconvenient truth problem is what we're really talking about. And so I guess he would critique Al Gore and say Al Gore did it all wrong because he should have never told people the truth, that he thinks they're basically just running from the truth out of convenience. and so I guess he'd backseat drive him too. He did it wrong. And I don't know what he calls success. I mean, he used Martin Luther King as an example. I would say Martin Luther King was a failure. Black culture is gutter and sewer. Blacks haven't done anything to earn the civil rights movement. They've done nothing with it, as a practical fact. And just like feminism, right? You gave women the right to vote, and what did they do with it? Ran like fucking hell from a serious conversation. They elected men because they had a beard or they didn't have a beard. That kind of bullshit. They took almost zero interest in being actually competent and informed. So I'd say almost feminism was a huge failure because women liberated all they wanted to do was fart and drink beer. They wanted to take every bad male vice and glorify it. Instead of becoming better than men, they just became another version of men. I mean, really, they're doing it as a practical fact. So anyway, I know I'll get heat for those two commentaries, but I'm just saying all these liberations, all these activisms are shallow and insufficient because they aren't principled. That's the whole fucking point. There's no principle behind it. Just like the anti-war movement had no principles, right? The whole fucking 60s revolution was a shallow, it was a veneer of revolution. These people didn't believe in shit, and you found out they didn't believe in shit as soon as you offered them a fucking cupcake. You end the draft, and all of a sudden they're fucking heading to the disco and putting on the polyester. I mean, they sold out for nothing almost in terms of principle. Once you understand that my negative sensations aren't any different than their negative sensations, that the sensation... I mean, the whole point I'm making here is that anti-bullshit man is ragging on me because I'm not accepting, as part of my group of warriors, a bunch of psychopaths who just want to go on a killing spree. A bunch of self-interested asswipes who want emotional comfort. A bunch of people who want their failure verified and validated. Yeah, a bunch of people with a bunch of psychological issues. And I'm saying those soldiers aren't going to get the job done. And when you have your revolution, it will fail because they have no depth of understanding. They have no principles. The principles are the war. That's what it's about, the principles. In itself will be the same, qualitative substantially, in its negativeness, that there's no gain in me pushing it into their brain. If it's in my brain, I push it into their brain. I haven't accomplished anything.
You have accomplished something.
Okay, this will be interesting, right? Right? Let's figure this one out. There's some gain. Accomplishment means something like a gain, right? Yeah, let's see what it is.
You have accomplished moving it from your brain to their brain.
Oh, well, we already know that, asshole, so that was quite obvious. Duh.
that's what you've accomplished.
Okay, so non-answer. So he's basically conceded the point that there's no victory in that. There's absolutely no reason for me to think that if there's if there's a nickel on the ground, well, let's say it's $1 million bill, and if I pick it up, it goes to that guy over there. But if I don't pick it up, there's no way I can get it, but he can get it if I pick it up. Now, logically, you can understand, I mean, if you get this philosophy thing, if you understand the equality here, is that's essentially just pushing misery out of you and pushing it into him. I mean, it's essentially pulling misery out of him, okay, by you doing something minor. So it's, the point I'm making is there's a true, real gain here, because you've extracted the collective of you two together. Now, your net worth is much higher. And that logically should mean something. The fact that you personally don't gain should have nothing to do with it logically understanding the net worth has increased. And that's good. So, I mean, I didn't say that perfectly, but it's an analogy or metaphor, as a way of understanding that the idea of this equality thing is important. The idea of understanding that there's just as much gain in improving their welfare as there is improving your own. And that you haven't counter-argued, as you just demonstrated. You had no counter-argument. There is no way to cause harm to somebody else and profit. And you just conceded that.
Imperative. They don't command any moral obligation or ethical or what.
Well, again, you're talking about what feelings. See, you just keep playing games here. One minute you're talking about what we can logically and intellectually understand, and the next minute you're talking about what your feelings do.
Sorry, but you're the one who's conflating the two by saying that we somehow have a logical obligation to be consistent in how we treat others, which is idiotic, right?
Okay, there. So now he's conceded that he doesn't accept the second premise either. So he doesn't accept the first premise that I've experienced pain sensations and I understand their qualitative difference. And now he's basically just said it, even though he's lying when he usually doesn't say it. He's denying that people deserve, that the essence of their function is equal. He thinks his functionality is more important. He's a me, they're thems. He's important, they're not important. I'll play it again. You heard, I mean, that's what he said. Next minute, you're talking about what your feelings do.
Sorry, but you're the one who's conflating the two by saying that we somehow have a logical obligation to be consistent in how we treat others, which is idiotic, right? Because logical consistency applies to arguments and thought processes and...
Yeah, and that's how we treat others. I mean, again, this is just, no, I'm sorry. It's just ludicrous for you to say we don't treat people based on how we understand them, how we perceive them through our knowledge. That's just idiotic, and that's what's being attacked is your use of words and knowledge. You are using corrupt thinking to justify selfish action.
Deductions and blah 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 blah. But you just want to fluff all that off like, oh, it's just elitist, intellectually elite nonsense, right? Because what? Because you can't read a fucking book?
No, because it's absolute nonsense for you to say it's logically okay to be a hypocrite. That's not a violation of obligations to consistency, and to say that logic doesn't require consistency when of course it does. That's the law of non-contradiction, asshole. And to say you haven't violated the law of non-contradiction by saying, yes, they're equal, but I will not allow any notion of equality to be applied, and then to say there is a bad, but the bad doesn't have anything to do with badness. It has none of the properties of a bad thing. I will treat it nothing like a bad thing. That's a contradiction, motherfucker. Okay, if you're not treating the thing as you stated it's defined, if you're not treating the water as if it's wet, you can't say it's wet.
Yeah.
The feelings themselves do. The feelings themselves don't do a thing. All they do is create a state of negative or positive. Now,
right, agreed. So what?
So what? So what? Well, if you understand 0 plus 1 minus 1, and you understand how to do math, you understand that the negative result can be analogized to a deficit or a less than neutral condition, and that would be bad.
What? Right, so what? Doesn't mean anything.
Again, you can say it doesn't mean anything, and I'm just going to say you're insane, okay? I've experienced sensations. I know there's a qualitative difference between comfort and torture. And you can keep saying there isn't any difference. Go ahead and say it. But you don't have any evidence. You don't have any reason. You don't have anything to give me any reason why I should believe this nonsense that my sentient experience is irrelevant. That no matter what state I'm in, it's all the same state, valuatively, when everything about my sensations is saying exactly the opposite.
Imply anything. You can't derive anything from that.
Yeah, I wish you, again, prove it. I mean, there's so many ways you can do it without doing any real physical damage to yourself, where you could just impose a tile of suffering on yourself, torture yourself. Prove to me it doesn't mean anything. Prove it. To interpret those things into the real world is the question, and you're saying there is no interpreting into the real world because I don't have to apply intelligence.
What a pile of shit, right? What a pile of shit. It has nothing to do with intelligence.
Yes, it does. You can't do intelligence if you've denied reality. You've denied the existence of the word bad, and you've denied the existence of the word same. So what's the fucking point? You've taken two hugely important words and evacuated them from the vocabulary, and how can you possibly do any intelligent analysis of reality? It's like taking the sun and the earth out of the solar system and then talk about the dynamics of the solar system. It's fucking insane.
It's absolutely nothing. The feelings are what they are. You either care about them...
Well, again, this caring thing just doesn't mean anything. You either acknowledge and respect, or you, as you have, not acknowledge and don't respect.
You either plot out and plan in your diagram that, okay, here's doing, here's being, this is how you get to A, blah, 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 blah. But there's no fucking duty, right? There's just no...
Well, again, I'm just going to argue. As soon as there's value, there's duty. So you can keep saying there's no duty, but it's the definition of bad. If you treat bad like nothing, then it's not bad. So again, I'm just going to keep saying that over and over and over again. Part of the definition of bad is that it's not nothing. It's something, and it's bad. It's less than nothing. It has to be treated as if it was less than nothing. And if you don't treat it that way, it isn't bad.
Feelings, they just are what they are.
Well, again, that's just more drivel. Okay, our behavior isn't just our behavior. It happens for reasons, and it happens because we do these calculations, and what we put into the math is critically important. And so to play this nonsense game that we just are what we are, no, we are what we think. It's a fact.
Simple. End of story. We don't need this invisible, abstract...
It's not invisible. I can clearly see it. As I've stated before, there's no missing it. I have the sensations. They're certainly not invisible to my sensing consciousness. My sensing consciousness senses sensations. It feels them. So they're not invisible in the figurative sense.
Logical obligation. It's a pile of shit.
To that circumstance, and of course that's exactly what you do have to do.
No, you don't.
You understand. Well, that's some answer again, right? I don't have to pay attention to the word same. I don't have to accept the existence of bad. I'm saying if you're not going to do those two things, you have to explain to me why you're not going to do it. how do you evade bad, and how do you corrupt sane. And the truth.
Logical obligation. It's a really clumsy way of putting it, but okay. There is no imperative, there's no objective.
Well, again, there's no imperative if you don't consider hypocrisy a logical error.
Oh, by the way, guess what? It's not. It isn't. There, I said it. Hypocrisy's not a logical flaw.
Right, but you didn't explain it. You don't. You say so. Oh, okay. I don't think you're reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable to think hypocrisy isn't contradiction.
You suck dick.
Whatever. You suck dioxin. You suck herpes. You eat gonorrhea. So the imperative only exists as long as you keep treating yourself as if your feelings matter. That's where the imperative comes from. Alright, you suck ass probably would have been just as good.
Okay, well, I could treat myself as if my feelings matter and not give a fuck about anyone else's feelings. I know that their feelings matter, but hey, guess what, genius? It's to them, okay?
Well, again, I'm not going to do this. It matters to them shit again. The word matters doesn't matter if you're going to isolate it in micro-universes that you invent. Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, another broken word, right? I mean, the word just doesn't mean anything if you say that we're just going to consolidate everything into little bits and just say it only matters in that little bit. There. Okay, gone. Doesn't matter over here. Doesn't matter over there. It just matters in that little bit over there. Fuck you. So when you stop preventing yourself from feeling pain, is the minute you can stop worrying about other people's pain. Well, there. See, that would have been a place to jump in, right? That's a, you know, the minute you don't think you demonstrate through some action that you know your pain is meaningless, is the minute you can say somebody else's is meaningless. Yeah. Why didn't you answer that? Cunt.
There's just feelings which create sensations which drive our behaviour.
Well, again, drive our behavior. We haven't been driven that directly by a feeling for thousands of years because...
Right, instinctively, impulsively, as a kind of non-reflective, non-self-aware. But what I'm talking about...
It has nothing to do with self-aware and all this other shit. It has to do with the fact that you understand basic physics. You understand brain in skull, brain in skull. Yeah, that kind of shit.
Is that the feelings have to play a role.
Dishwasher, 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 dishwasher. Not complicated.
In at least some degree as a primitive form of motivation. Right?
Well, again, it doesn't matter. Okay, that, you know, playing this again, you're going to just keep playing this game. As I've pointed out, somebody can merely have as their devotion, they're horny for integrity, the truth, honesty. They love facts, period. There, now we're done, right? So I'm saying, yes, ideally, that's the thing to be horny for. Those are the goods. The truth is a good. Yes, you're horny for the truth. Good. Okay, solved. That's the way to be.
Reason and logic can only tell us facts about how to get from A to B. But what the fuck you decide A is and what B is are determined by, guess what, genius? Values, right?
Well, again, no, they're determined by your understanding. Understanding defines values. I've stated this already, but I mean, I can use my own development as a human being as an example, and I can point out to you every time I learned something about the world and it changed my values. Okay, my values had nothing to do with me and what I felt or what I wanted. My values were a reflection of what I learned to be the facts.
The values you hold, the goals that you have, and you're saying that no, the goal is out there, is binding on everyone. The whole game, blah blah blah, which is a pile of shit.
Well, it's not a pile of shit. Again, if you accept the same argument that the pieces are all dishwashers and they all have the same functionality and the value is in their experience. So once you say, yes, experience has value, they're experiencing, I'm experiencing, no qualitative difference between the experience, no way to differentiate between brain A, brain B having experience, torture is torture. Yeah, once you recognize that, well, then yes, it's game over for this selfish bullshit.
See no evidence for it, fuckhead, so you're going to need to prove it.
We're human beings that have acquired knowledge of how the world works. So for thousands of years we've been able to consider how my behavior will affect other people. So we don't, most people wouldn't say, let's all shit in the drinking water.
Fuck, because you already fucking give a shit about that, you idiot.
No, I'm sorry, that's just idiotic. I wasn't born giving a shit about it. I learned to give a shit about where I shit. I learned that it makes sense to shit in the fucking toilet and have all the shit go to one place and to be properly processed. I learned that that's fucking efficient and that's the way to go. And so I became kind of horny to shit in toilets, asshole. Because I realized it's sensible and logical and clean and good. And I don't end up drinking somebody else's shit that way, jackass! I already had a drink, so now I'll shit in the water. Most people would understand, no, that's not going to work because, yeah, I'll make a bunch of other people sick. I mean, we're already way past saying, I don't have any feeling about it. Way past that. And you're just pretending we're still fucking monkeys and that the only thing we've learned about life on Earth is, how to build buildings or something. No, we've learned about a lot of things. We've learned about cause and effect.
Or
I mean, that would have been another good place. We've learned that other brains are brains. That we're not spiritual creatures. We're not God endowed. We're not any of that shit. Turtles are turtles. Deers are deers. Elephants are elephants. Humans are humans.
But there's no objective end in the sense that you ought to avoid pain. There's no moral.
Well, again, you ought to avoid pain. So he's saying, so you're behaving as if that makes sense, and yet you're pretending it doesn't.
Pile of shit. No. Fuck you. We desire to avoid pain.
Oh, whatever. Again, and you desire it. Why? Because pain is bad, right? I mean, you just keep lying about this, right? I'm sorry. I'm a conscious being. You're not going to fool me, all right? There's no desire mechanism that pre-existed the existence of my sensation of pain. Pain shows up. It fucking nails you with horror and nastiness, and you react to it with fuck that. And that's your reaction. It has nothing to do with desire. It has to do with it deserves fuck that.
Okay, pain contains within it repulsion. Okay, motivates, saying the negative is intrinsic to the pain, above and beyond my judgment about the pain.
The experience is negative. Again, so you're just going to keep playing a game here as if pain isn't intrinsically and fundamentally a negative experience.
Really, my opinion about pain is if here's me, here's pain, right? I've already explained this to you.
Yeah, I've already explained this to you, okay? The sensation itself is pain. It doesn't need anything else. It's bad all by itself.
Then I'm not fucking...
If I extract all the other neurology in my brain and just have the sensation, screaming nerve pain, okay, and I just let that loose in the universe, it's recognizable as a bad thing.
Disagreeing with this part. What I'm disagreeing with is that it has some sort of duty saying that thou shalt avoid.
Well, that's the definition of bad again, jackass. If you treat bad things like good things or like neutral things, then they can't be bad things, asshole. It's part of the definition. Got to be treated like a bad thing to be a bad thing.
Or something.
I mean, if you're going to say it's bad, you have to treat it as if it's bad. If you don't treat it as if it's bad, then you can't argue it's bad.
That is complete nonsense. I don't know where the fuck this is coming from, that, you know, same or get treated the same. That's going beyond the fact.
Well, again, now you're arguing something you were willing to concede at the beginning of this video. So, you know, gotcha. What else you want me to say? You're not arguing with the word the same. You're saying that there's something structurally wrong with this description of feeling organism. You somehow want to qualify it with some other bullshit. Well, that's what I said before. Go ahead, give me your excuse for treating yourself better. You're saying you are worth it. You're saying you are actually better than me, or you're better than them, or you're better than them, that your comfort is more important than their comfort or my comfort. Well, then make an argument defending that if that's what you believe. Otherwise, you're stuck with same.
Okay, the fact is that same are same. Okay, ethics and morality is not about the facts in the world. Okay, here's all the facts in the world. Ethics and morality is not merely the facts in the world, but rather the stance or attitude you take with respect to the facts.
Oh, whatever, the attitude you take. That's called a bias or a prejudice then, if you have an attitude as you approach the facts. So the point is not to have an attitude, not to have any momentum or velocity, okay, and allow the facts to demonstrate their velocity, to demonstrate what they are. You can't see them if you're a moving target. If you're moving towards them with a bigotry or a slant or a point of view, then you're distorting their reality. So I'm saying, no, you've obviously, once again, have it wrong. No news there.
World. And you're just ignoring that. Because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, you're the idiot who can't tell the difference between having a nail shoved in your eye and a cupcake. So, fuck you. An idiot who can't tell the difference between those two things evaluatively, can't call one bad and one good. I would say I would really appreciate being called an idiot by somebody that stupid. That's a good sign I'm doing it right. If somebody as wrong as you identifies me as wrong. So, thank you, for the compliment. So, it's just a lie. Like I said, you're not going to be able to...
Oh, fuck you with this lie nonsense. You lie way fucking more than me, so you can stop.
Oh, whatever. Prove it. You're conscious, and you're going to tell me I don't behave in my self-interest because I'm selfish. That's not your reason. Your reason is because you actually believe you earned it. You deserve it. You deserve better treatment than them. But find some excuse that says, yes, I choose not to be harmed because I'm horny for something.
Yes.
Well, you didn't let me finish the statement, so... obviously, you choose not to be harmed because harm is bad. Pain is bad.
Yes. So what?
I have some a desire mechanism that compels me. No, you are being motivated by your knowledge that the negative sensation will happen.
Motivated by knowledge. No.
No, not motivated by knowledge. So again, he's arguing that if we didn't know the association between something and something, so when I see the dental pick, I obviously know what it means. Well, let's say you never went to the dentist, never even heard of a dentist, never saw a dental pick. You'd be in for a surprise, wouldn't you? Yeah.
The knowledge has to excite the desire.
Yeah, whatever. Now, the knowledge just informs you of the fact that you're going to suffer, and you react appropriately.
Or passion, or feeling, or value, or goal within you.
Well, whatever. It's just this is just nonsense. Again, like I said, I don't need to do any thinking or any bothering with any of that crap. I just have to have the sensation. The sensation speaks for itself, and what it's saying is, fuck you, and I'm going to say, fuck you back.
The knowledge itself is utterly impotent. Here's all the...
Well, whatever. I think that's just, I think you're utterly impotent, by the way, until proven otherwise. And this idiotic argument that somehow our knowledge of consequences doesn't completely orchestrate our behavior, I think is the silliest thing you could possibly say.
Knowledge. Here's you, the knower, with the knowledge. You stand in a relation to it. I don't want to masturbate this, but let's just...
No, I don't do any of that shit, okay? The knowledge makes it visible. I can see the future. That's what knowledge allows me to see, is the future. I react to the future.
Okay, now, your ethics and your values and what you think you should do given the knowledge is about the attitude or stance you take with respect to it. The knowledge itself is utterly impotent in motivating you.
Well, bullshit. Again, like I said, I use the knowledge to make the model. I run the model. I see me in pain. I act accordingly to avoid the pain.
Knowledge is what it is. You either care about the suffering pigs...
Again, you keep using this care word as if I think caring is how we should do thinking, and that's not what I think at all, okay? This is logical math. Once you've established the fact that dishwasher is dishwasher is dishwasher, and you've established that dishwasher can have bad or good fly out of it, the obligation is good, good, bad, bad, more good, less bad. Done. That's it. Done.
Or you do not. Simple. Really simple.
No, it isn't simple. You're saying ethics is as simple as don't even pay attention. Yeah, that's really simple. You're saying building a building is pick up a sledgehammer. Just smash the air, and if the air is gone, something else has to be there, right? Negative sensation will happen if you don't protect yourself, if you don't wear the oven mitt and you grab the hot plate. Okay, it's knowledge of the fact that you're going to get your hand burned and it's going to hurt like motherfucking hell.
Right, again, Christ, fuck's sake, it's going to hurt like hell. Yes, that's the value, you stupid fuck.
And there's no... Well, again, you know, that's the value, you stupid fuck. How is that at all descriptive of the fact that I'm recognizing the suffering is bad, and that's it? I know it to be a bad thing, not a benign thing or a neutral thing, a bad thing. Oh, you don't have any horniness for the oven mitt. You don't have some feeling like my hand needs to be inside a mitten.
Okay, that's not what I meant, you fucking idiot.
Well, I know, but there's no other way to conform what you're saying. It's essentially the same thing. You're saying the desire for the means to the avoidance is somehow the real thing. And no, it's not my desire for the means to the avoidance. It's the avoidance that's built into the thing itself that necessitates me finding a means. I have to find the means to avoid the bad. I don't desire the means. That's not what's happening. So to quit pretending it's some visceral instinct that's driving you, when it's clearly just an understanding of the truth and consequences. The fact that if you don't do it, the harm, the suffering will take place. And the same exact circumstance exists for the other people, and that's where the logical imperative is. So as long as you're putting an oven mitt on your hand, you've got to put it on their hand.
The commandment. There's no...
Again, so why didn't you respond to that? I mean, it's a direct challenge, a direct statement saying there's no logical reason for you to protect your sentient brain with this oven mitt and not recognize that the same experience will take place in their brain and the same mitt of protection is necessary, because the bad will be the same.
There's no ought saying that, you know, especially with regard to other people, that you should reduce their suffering, that goes...
Well, again,
that goes beyond the individual sensation.
Then you shouldn't reduce your own.
Wait, whoa, then you shouldn't reduce your own? What a pile of fucking shit. This guy is so fucking stupid, right? He thinks that if we abandon an ought, then somehow we're saying, oh, we ought not reduce suffering. Are you really that fucking retarded? Do you think that if you...
Did you catch this? You know, we ought not reduce suffering for ourselves. That's all he just said, right? He's saying the ought exists when it's me. He's clearly saying, he's clearly quite defensive of his right to ought in his own benefit. And he's just simply saying, but it's inconvenient for me to ought for them, so I won't. Clearly.
Abandon the ought with respect to other people, that means that you ought not reduce your own suffering? Look.
Yeah, that's right. The hypocrisy is glaring. The contradiction is glaring. Same should be treated same. You're saying I have a right and a reason to treat them differently. I'm asking you, what's your reason? Your reason is, I feel like it. I, as a dumb monkey, will not be anything but a dumb monkey, and I will choose to behave like a dumb monkey because I'm just going to use some excuse like I have Asperger's and I can't do complex math. Yeah, I'll find an excuse to avoid the inconvenience of recognizing my obligations as a sentient being on crowded planet Earth. You have obligations on crowded planets.
There's no ought either way. It is what it is.
Oh, again, you found the ought for you. I'm just saying, prove to me there's no ought for yourself. Choose not to get the Novocaine. Choose not to take the comfortable road.
Either care, or you don't. Simple.
Well, no, your hypocrisy is obvious. Okay, I'm worth it, they're not. That's all you're saying. Period.
You give me a reason for this ought.
Same, and the intrinsic nature of bad suffering.
Right? If I reject the ought, I'm not saying we ought not.
Well, I'm just saying that there's an is ought gap, but not a is ought not gap. Not a not ought unnot not gap. So as long as I double negative my gap on my ought, if I double negative the ought, somehow I avoid the gap. So that's all I have to do. I'm not saying there's not a not unought gap. This is what they call, verbal gymnastics.
Fire.
And tortured.
Fucktard.
Tortured.
Fuck you.
Again, the logic is built into the statement that until you can demonstrate why the experience you're having is exceptional, not personal, exceptional, different, okay? Not different in irrelevant ways, different in a meaningful way.
With respect to what?
With respect to your capacity to be tortured, asshole.
With respect to what, right?
Your capacity to feel suffering. So until you demonstrate how your sensations are meaningfully different than theirs, not irrelevantly different, you've got no argument. There was your answer. That you could have responded now. You just asked me, how so, blah, 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 and there I gave it to you. And you, again, fail.
Beyond the individual sensation. But anyway, enough talking for me right now. Go ahead and play this video.
Oh, yeah, so he plays it and then, jump cuts it.
Yeah, and I've been jump cutting this video a lot because I have a webcam here and I can't exactly turn the webcam to the screen like you do, which is what I would do. So that's why I do jump cutting. But, I mean, who the fuck are you to criticise my editing skills, right? Let's not have fucking little kaleidoscope graphics and shit. Swimming underwater and a bunch of fucking bullshit. Who the fuck wants to see that?
Who cares? That's just part of my character. Yeah, that's my personality, buddy. Too fucking bad. I don't like what you wear. I don't like the way your hair's combed. I think you're all kind of pussy and faggoty. It's irrelevant, I guess. Yeah, I think you have a big nose, too.
I could bash on your editing skills, you fucking idiot.
Who cares? Guess what? Go ahead, bash all you like. Yeah, I love it. Go ahead. So thanks for playing it. Yeah, we'll see if he paraphrased it correctly, which I doubt. I wish I could hear better. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I not really wasn't bashing your editing skills. I was bashing the fact that, as too often people do, they complain about somebody breaking context in one of these arguments. You know, they complain that I do that. And I would argue I don't do that. And here you clearly demonstrated really poor choices about where you decided to speak up and what you just left on the table, unresolved, unresponded to. And I'd say you did a pretty lame job of getting to the crux of my points.
Individual sensation. Anyway, enough talking for me right now. Go ahead, please. Experiences. Okay, so that was a glitch in the editing, which is ironic after I just criticised the amendment. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you want to criticise, you know, the fact that I use jump cuts.
Again, I'm not criticizing jump cuts. I'm really not. So I'm sorry you misunderstood me. And part of it was my own misunderstanding of what you were doing, okay? Because you said, let's go to the video, and then you didn't go to the video. So I was like, what? What, are you going to paraphrase the video? I didn't know what the fuck that was. So, you know, but I don't really care. I mean, I really don't find this a bad medium, a bad way to do a video response. So I'm not critiquing that. I'm just critiquing that Hothliday constantly quote mines my videos and takes them out of context. So I'm just saying I'm a little paranoid about people manipulating the content for their purposes. And obviously when you don't respond to the stuff I think you should be responding to, the stuff I'm emphasizing in the video quite clearly, and then you wait and just pass over it, I find that manipulative.
Right. You know, criticise my edit, and you should take a look at your fucking website, mate. It's shite.
Yeah, it says you. Yeah, it says shit by whose standards? Shithead standards? Some guy who wears iron sweaters? I'm not too afraid of that critique either. Not too afraid at all. Yeah, a guy who plays, you know, makes videos of school shootings. Cartoon school shootings. I mean, your aesthetic tastes probably aren't mine, that's for sure. So, a critique gratefully accepted, because I win again. Anything an asshole doesn't like about me, wow, I win. Super. Yeah. So anyway, till next time. I'll do the comments maybe in the next... Well, I have to find part 2, right? There's a part 2, maybe? Oh, fuck. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll just play that one and take notes. Maybe I'll try to do that. It's just so irritating. It's just like, oh, more notes, more notes, more notes. It's irritating. And you're just like, oh, they have to hear this. They're not going to believe me when I tell them he just said that. That's the irritating part. So anyway, really, facts of reality are really, really, really simple. There's no meta, there's no giga, there's no supra, there's no maxa, okay? The truth is really, really simple, alright? Evolution made feeling things that needed motivation engines. It created a value synthesis. The value synthesis might as well be real value because it's the greatest creation of value in the universe. It is the thing that looks the most like a value engine there is. It creates the existence of good and bad things, sensations, and that creates the mathematics of an economy. There is something being traded now. The game has significance because now outcomes can be good or bad. Fact. Without sentience, no good or bad outcomes. With sentience, good or bad outcomes. Fact.